Today we're looking into a case where one woman's private life became public and deadly. She thought she was in control, juggling secrets and emotions, but someone close to her exposed everything. What began as whispers turned into rage, and what should have ended in silence exploded behind a hotel room door. No one called for help, no one stopped. And when it was over, the only voice that mattered was gone. What remained were screenshots, a shattered timeline, and 3 people with nowhere left to hide. In 2023, 24-year-old Nia Holston appeared to have built the life she had always imagined. She secured a job as a receptionist at a boutique advertising agency in downtown Miami, a position that provided a steady income and access to a social circle she had not experienced before. Co-workers later recalled that Nia carried herself with confidence. She dressed well, always polished and professional, and maintained a vibrant social presence in the office. She was known for her sense of humor and her ability to connect easily with people. It was at this firm that she met 28-year-old James Carr. At the time, James worked as a junior copywriter. Those who knew him described him as quiet, composed, and consistently professional. Unlike many in the high-energy environment of marketing and promotions, James preferred to keep a low profile. Initial conversations between Nia and James were casual. They spoke during breaks, occasionally had lunch together, and developed what appeared to be a friendly rapport. By early spring, this relationship shifted from workplace acquaintances to something more personal. Investigators later confirmed that the two began seeing each other outside of work. Their first meetings were informal dinners and coffee after work, but within weeks they were spending most weekends together. Testimony from Nia's colleagues and digital records recovered during the investigation indicated that James presented as a stable and considerate partner. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Friends of Nia told detectives that she often described him as calm, safe, and the kind of man who thinks before he speaks. However, evidence also showed that during the same period Nia began forming another connection that would later become central to this case. In May 2023, she attended a friend's birthday gathering at a rooftop venue in the Brickell district of Miami. It was there that she met 32-year-old Kendall Deeks. Kendall worked as an event promoter, a role that gave him visibility within Miami's nightlife scene. Witness statements and social media analysis confirmed that Kendall projected an image associated with wealth and influence. He frequently posted images of luxury vehicles, designer clothing, and high-profile parties. Nia and Kendall exchanged contact information that evening. Phone records would later confirm that communication between the two began almost immediately after the event. Within days, their messages escalated from casual introductions to personal exchanges. Investigators reviewed these messages during the homicide inquiry and noted that Kendall's tone was assertive and direct. Within a week of meeting, Kendall had taken Nia on a personal outing involving water sports near Biscayne Bay. Witnesses and geolocation data placed the two together on a jet ski excursion during this period. Despite this new involvement, Nia did not end her relationship with James. Evidence obtained from text archives and statements from friends indicated that she continued to see both men concurrently in conversations with her closest friend, 25-year-old Tasha Liddell. Nia reportedly framed this situation as a period of exploration. Tasha later recounted that Nia joked about testing the market, a phrase Nia used in more than one conversation according to chat logs retrieved from Tasha's device. Tasha and Nia had been close since high school, maintaining a friendship that endured through early adulthood. At the time of these events, Tasha worked part-time at a neighborhood nail salon and lived with an aunt in Miami Gardens. Interviews conducted during the investigation revealed that on the surface, Tasha expressed amusement at Nia's romantic situation. She listened to Nia's anecdotes about receiving gifts and romantic gestures from both men. However, text evidence and later testimony suggested that Tasha's private feelings were more complex. Messages she exchanged with other contacts indicate growing frustration and resentment toward Nia, sentiments that appeared to intensify over time. As Nia's involvement with both men continued, she regularly shared personal details of each relationship with Tasha. These included screenshots of affectionate messages, images of gifts, and accounts of private interactions. For reasons that remain a point of psychological analysis in the case, Tasha began systematically saving these screenshots. Metadata attached to the recovered images confirmed that they were archived on Tasha's personal device. This pattern of behavior would later become a critical factor in understanding the sequence of events that followed. The escalation in this case began with an action that, according to investigators, appeared both impulsive and deliberate. Analysis of message logs and digital records shows that on the evening of September 9, 2023, at approximately 10:17 p.m., Nia Holston engaged in what she likely viewed as a casual exchange with her closest friend, Tasha Liddell. Nia forwarded 2 screenshots in succession. The first was a message from Kendall Deeks timestamped earlier that day, reading, "Can't stop thinking about last night." The second screenshot, sent minutes later, displayed a message from James Carr, "You're everything I prayed for." Investigators determined that both messages originated from authentic conversations on Nia's device and were shared directly with Tasha through an encrypted messaging application. The context of these exchanges, romantic, intimate, and overlapping, provided Tasha with clear evidence that Nia was simultaneously involved with both men. The immediate impact of these disclosures became evident in the digital trail examined by law enforcement. James' pattern of communication with Nia changed abruptly following receipt of the forwarded screenshot. He stopped responding to her calls and text messages for approximately 3 days. Kindle, by contrast, attempted multiple phone calls to Nia during this same period, all of which went unanswered. Cell site location data and call logs confirmed these attempts. When Kindle did receive a message related to Nia, it came not from her, but from an unidentified number that investigators later traced to a prepaid device associated with Tasha. This message contained an additional screenshot, one depicting Nia in a private chat allegedly making dismissive remarks about both men. While the authenticity of the comment was never fully established, its effect on Kindle's perception was significant. On September 12, 2023, records show that James initiated contact with Kindle through a direct message on a social platform. This was the first documented interaction between the two men. The conversation began cautiously, with both parties verifying what they knew. Within hours, the exchange became systematic. They compared messages, confirmed timestamps, and aligned their understanding of Nia's involvement with each of them. For investigators reviewing these logs post-incident, this communication revealed a clear psychological shift from individual betrayal to shared resentment. Detectives later described this phase as collaborative anger, a dynamic that transformed private grievances into coordinated planning. By the evening of September 13, Kendall introduced a proposal that would become central to the events of this case. In the recovered messages, he referenced a downtown hotel suite reserved under an alias he had used previously for event bookings, Malik Rivers. According to investigators, Kendall regularly utilized this name in nightlife operations, allowing him to maintain discretion for promotional activities. In the exchange, Kendall suggested extending an invitation to Nia under the pretense of a romantic evening. The tone of the conversation, as documented in official reports, indicated that James expressed initial hesitation but ultimately agreed to the plan. Forensic review of timestamps and IP logs confirmed that the final arrangements were made on September 14. That same day at 4:02 p.m., Nia texted Tasha about the upcoming meeting. The message included heart emojis and the statement, "He booked a whole suite just for me." Investigators later retrieved this message from Nia's iCloud backup. Tasha did not respond, nor did she attempt to warn Nia about the circumstances in interviews. Tasha claimed she froze upon reading the message and did not believe the situation would escalate beyond an argument. Her account, however, contrasted with her earlier actions and became a focal point in determining her role in the chain of events. On the evening of September 14, Nia left her residence at approximately 8:10 p.m. Rideshare records confirmed that she requested transportation to a hotel located on Collins Avenue in downtown Miami. GPS data from the driver's app placed her arrival at 8:43 p.m. Hotel records later verified that the suite in question was registered under the alias provided by Kendall and paid for with a prepaid card purchased 2 days earlier at a convenience store in Little Haiti. Surveillance from the hotel lobby showed Nia entering alone. This footage, while not graphic, was instrumental in confirming her timeline. What is established as fact is that both Jamil and Kendall were present in the suite before Nia arrived. On the morning of September 15, 2023, at approximately 10:12 a.m., a housekeeping employee assigned to the 11th floor of the Collins Avenue hotel initiated a routine service check on Suite 1124. The room had been scheduled for same-day turnover following the prior night's occupancy. According to the housekeeper's formal statement, she detected what she described as a sharp metallic odor near the suite entrance. This detail was later corroborated by responding security personnel and entered into the official incident log. The employee knocked several times, announced her presence, and received no response. While inspecting the doorframe, she observed a small reddish smear near the lower hinge, prompting immediate notification to hotel security. 2 security officers arrived within minutes. Using a master key, they accessed the suite at approximately 10:19 a.m. Their initial observations, documented in the first incident report and later verified through forensic photography, indicated an extensive presence of blood throughout the interior. The victim, later identified as 24-year-old Nia Holston, was discovered lying on the floor adjacent to the bed area. Emergency medical services were contacted at 10:22 a.m., and paramedics arrived at 10:28 a.m. The victim exhibited severe physical trauma. Hospital records and the subsequent autopsy confirmed that Nia sustained multiple injuries: a depressed skull fracture, bilateral orbital swelling resulting in complete eye closure, extensive facial trauma, and fractured ribs on the left thoracic site. The attending trauma team later documented that her injuries were consistent with multiple instances of blunt force impact. At the scene, Her breathing was shallow but present. No personal belongings were located within the suite. A search conducted by the Crime Scene Investigation (CSI) unit confirmed the absence of a purse, mobile phone, or any form of identification. The only notable items documented were decorative elements, rose petals scattered across the bed, an unopened champagne bottle, and a portable speaker still playing low volume at the time of entry. Forensic photographs captured these conditions prior to evidence collection. Nia was transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital. Under advanced life support measures, she arrived at approximately 10:54 a.m. and was immediately taken to the operating room for emergency neurosurgical intervention due to massive bleeding. Despite surgical efforts, her condition deteriorated rapidly. At 12:27 p.m., less than 90 minutes after arrival, Nia Holston was pronounced deceased. The cause of death, later confirmed by the medical examiner, was blunt force cranial trauma resulting in catastrophic brain injury. Detectives from the Miami-Dade Homicide Bureau were assigned to the case immediately following hospital notification. Their initial assessment at the hotel documented that the crime scene showed no signs of forced entry. Investigators concluded that the victim likely entered the suite voluntarily based on intact locks and lack of defensive damage to the door. This finding aligned with subsequent digital evidence indicating that the reservation for Suite 1124 had been made in advance. Under the alias Malik Rivers, an identity later linked to Kendall Deek's crime scene, technicians performed a systematic sweep, collecting biological samples from multiple surfaces, including blood spatter on the flooring and contact points on the bathroom door and minibar counter. Luminol testing revealed additional traces near the entryway consistent with attempted cleanup using absorbent material. No such material was recovered at the scene, suggesting removal prior to discovery. While processing the hotel environment, investigators obtained internal video recordings from common areas. Although image quality was degraded, review of time-stamped footage established that two adult males entered the property separately between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. on September 14. Both individuals wore dark clothing and baseball caps positioned low over their faces, reducing facial visibility. However, vehicle surveillance from a public parking area adjacent to the hotel captured partial imagery of a black Nissan sedan arriving and departing within a time frame consistent with the homicide window. Further analysis identified the vehicle as a Nissan Altima. Detectives cross-referenced visible plate characters with state motor vehicle databases, ultimately isolating a match. The plate was registered to 28-year-old James Carr, residing in Miami-Dade County. This connection represented the first concrete lead in the investigation. Following the initial interrogation of Jamil Carr, investigators secured judicial authorization to search and extract data from his mobile device. The warrant, issued on September 16, 2023, permitted full forensic imaging of the phone, including deleted files, messaging archives, and application logs. Analysis was conducted by the Miami-Dade Police Department's Digital Forensics Unit using industry-standard tools. The extraction revealed significant evidence contradicting James' earlier claims of no association with the victim. Among the recovered data were multiple deleted conversations involving two key contacts, one saved as Kindle and another as TL. The content included explicit discussions referencing Nia Holston, forwarded screenshots of her private messages, and communications indicating shared resentment toward her. These conversations, according to timestamps, occurred between September 10 and September 14, within the critical planning window preceding the homicide. One thread documented direct coordination between James and Kendall regarding a proposed meeting at a downtown hotel. This included Kendall confirming reservation details for a suite under the alias Malik Rivers and James acknowledging the plan. The tone of the exchange described in the official report shifted from general frustration to what investigators characterized as preparatory intent, including mentions of teaching Nia a lesson and ensuring she would understand who she was playing with. While no explicit language of lethal intent was documented, prosecutors later argued that the combination of actions and context established premeditation. Investigators also recovered multiple image files, screenshots of Nia's text conversations with both men. Metadata associated with these files showed that they were originally sent to James from an unidentified third-party number, later linked to the contact labeled TL. These screenshots corresponded to messages Nia had previously sent to her confidant, Tasha Liddell. This finding provided the first direct connection between Tasha and the planning phase of the crime. With this digital evidence in hand, detectives re-interviewed James on the evening of September 17. A second interrogation, conducted under recorded conditions, produced a partial admission. Confronted with the recovered messages, James acknowledged knowing Nia, admitted to maintaining a romantic relationship with her, and ultimately conceded that he was present at the hotel on the night of September 14. His initial statement framed the incident as an attempt to intimidate rather than kill, stating, "It wasn't supposed to go that far. We were going to scare her." Despite this claim, investigators noted inconsistencies regarding the extent of physical contact and the sequence of events inside the suite. Using identifiers found in James' contact list and message threads, Investigators located Kendall Deeks through his social media accounts. Further verification came from traffic citation records, cross-referenced with his known aliases. Detectives obtained a search and arrest warrant for Deeks on September 17 and executed the arrest at his residence in the Little Haiti neighborhood. Kendall was taken into custody without incident and transported for questioning. During interrogation, Kendall presented a conflicting narrative. He admitted to being at the hotel but denied initiating or participating in physical violence. His statement alleged that upon entering the suite, he observed Giles already on top of her, claiming that his only involvement was an unsuccessful attempt to intervene. Kendall could not, however, provide a consistent explanation for forensic evidence later introduced. Specifically, his DNA under the victim's fingernails and additional biological traces detected on her clothing. These findings, documented in the preliminary laboratory report, directly undermined his account. When confronted about the origin of the screenshots used to coordinate the meeting, Kendall identified Tasha Liddell by name. According to the transcript, he stated, "You should be talking to her. She's the one who started all this. She sent us everything. Set her up real pretty." This disclosure shifted investigative focus toward Tasha as a potential facilitator in the events leading to Nia's death. On September 18, detectives requested Tasha to return for a follow-up interview. During this session, which lasted approximately 72 minutes and was recorded in full, Tasha reiterated her previous claims. She stated that she had no involvement in any communications with James or Kendall, did not disclose any private information belonging to Nia, and had no knowledge of the hotel meeting. When asked to account for her activities on the evening of September 14, Tasha responded that she was at home watching Netflix. This statement was later documented in the case file as her official alibi. The investigation took a critical turn during a secondary forensic review of Nia's personal electronics. One of her older tablets, recovered from her apartment, remained connected to her primary cloud account. Digital forensics analysts discovered a folder titled TL, which contained multiple image files corresponding to screenshots previously recovered from James' phone. Metadata embedded in these files indicated that they were transmitted from a device registered to Tasha Liddell. Geolocation tags associated with certain files also placed the originating device within Tasha's residence at the time of forwarding. When presented with this evidence during a third interview, Tasha displayed visible physiological stress responses, including rapid blinking and trembling hands, as noted in the official interview log. Within minutes, she abandoned her prior denials and provided a partial admission. Her recorded statement included the following excerpt: "I didn't want her dead. I was just tired of the games. I thought if they knew, she'd stop." She insisted that her intent was limited to exposing Mia's behavior to both men and denied any knowledge of the subsequent plan to lure her to the hotel. Despite this claim, investigators concluded that her actions, deliberately forwarding intimate communications and maintaining secrecy after the fact, constituted material facilitation in the sequence of events that led to the homicide. On September 20th, prosecutors filed charges against Tasha Liddell for incitement and criminal facilitation of a violent felony resulting in death as defined under Florida statutes. She was taken into custody without incident and later released on a bond arrangement pending trial. Parallel to these developments, investigators consolidated forensic evidence to reinforce the case against James and Kendall. Cell tower analysis performed by the department's technical unit confirmed that both suspects' mobile devices connected to service nodes covering the Collins Avenue corridor during the relevant timeframe on September 14. Additional review of internal hotel surveillance, though limited in clarity, captured two individuals matching the suspects' physical profiles entering and exiting the property in proximity to the suite. Elevator access logs further correlated with the time frame established through digital communications. Forensic testimony introduced a decisive layer of corroboration. A bloodstain pattern analysis conducted by a certified expert concluded that the distribution of impact spatter within the suite was inconsistent with a single assailant. The report documented multiple directional patterns and varied force indicators supporting the hypothesis that at least two individuals delivered blows to the victim. This finding directly contradicted Kendall's claim of non-participation and strengthened the prosecution's theory of joint culpability. The evidentiary framework expanded further with information obtained from Jackson Memorial Hospital during pre-trial motions. The prosecution disclosed testimony from a trauma nurse who treated Nia during emergency resuscitation efforts. According to the nurse's written and oral statements, the victim, in a semi-conscious state, articulated the words, "They hit me," prior to losing responsiveness. The trial of the state of Florida versus Cardix and Little commenced in January 2024 in the 11th Judicial Circuit Court of Miami-Dade County. Proceedings were presided over by Judge Marissa Ortega. The prosecution presented a structured case built on a combination of digital forensics, surveillance analysis, forensic pathology, and corroborating witness statements. The prosecution's presentation began with an evidentiary timeline. Jurors were shown chronological sequences of text messages recovered from both James Carr and Kendall Dix's devices. These communications included explicit references to the hotel meeting, confirmation of the suite reserved under an alias, and language interpreted by experts as signaling intent to confront the victim. Prosecutors also introduced a series of screenshots forwarded by Tasha Liddell, which originated from Nia's personal messages and were transmitted by Tasha without the victim's knowledge. These disclosures, according to the state, functioned as the catalyst for the subsequent conspiracy. Physical evidence was presented in systematic order. Crime scene photographs documented the layout of Suite 1124, highlighting bloodstain distribution consistent with multiple points of impact, a certified bloodstain pattern. Analysts testified that the presence of cast-off patterns and divergent trajectories could not be attributed to a single attacker. Additional forensic testimony confirmed the detection of mixed DNA profiles on the victim's fingernails and clothing, conclusively matching both Carr and Dick's. Hospital staff testimony was introduced under the dying declaration exception, wherein a trauma nurse recounted the victim's statement, "They hit me," as her condition deteriorated. Defense strategies diverged among the three defendants. Counsel for James Carr advanced a theory of impulsive violence, asserting that the act lacked premeditation and stemmed from emotional distress. Upon learning of the victim's dual relationships, the defense conceded presence at the scene but characterized the assault as a spontaneous lapse of control. In contrast, Kendall Dix's attorney positioned his client as a reluctant participant who allegedly attempted to intervene after discovering James engaged in violence. This argument was undermined by forensic evidence placing Kendall in direct physical contact with the victim. Legal representation for Tasha Liddell asserted absence of criminal intent, framing her disclosure of private messages as a misguided attempt to resolve interpersonal conflict, not a deliberate contribution to fatal harm. The jury began deliberations on February 6, 2024, following a 10-day trial and nearly 40 hours of evidentiary review. Deliberations concluded in less than 7 hours. The verdict returned was unanimous. Jamil Carr and Kendall Deeks were found guilty of second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit aggravated battery. Tasha Liddell was found guilty of criminal facilitation and incitement to violence. Formal sentencing occurred on February 20, 2024. Judge Ortega imposed a term of 25 years incarceration without the possibility of parole for both Carr and Deeks, citing the sustained nature of the assault and the absence of mitigating factors. Liddell received a 5-year custodial sentence, reflecting the court's determination that, while her conduct did not involve direct physical violence, her actions materially enabled the conditions under which the homicide occurred. During the sentencing hearing, Doris Hall, mother of the deceased, addressed the court. Her remarks were brief but recorded in the official transcript. "You all stood there while my daughter bled, but at least now she won't be forgotten." This statement marked the final public commentary from the Holston family before their withdrawal from media engagement.